We're just normal men.
What do you mean, normal men?
We're just innocent men.
Welcome to the RedAss Podcast, your home for Aggie sports, barbecue, music, and much more. And now your hosts, Rob White and Roy May.
Howdy guys, welcome back to the RedAss Podcast. Today is Thursday, May 15th. And I feel like a co-champion. How about you?
You're like, what?
I feel like a co-champion.
I feel like we got completely hosed out of 2 titles because of 2 rainy days in Athens, Georgia.
Yeah, I made a comment, I guess, on one of the posts somebody made, but essentially it just said, man, this new rivalry between A&M and Athens weather is certainly something to keep an eye on.
Ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to play Oklahoma. Some Oklahoma moron on X was like spouting off.
Yeah.
Like, dude, at no point is this team afraid to play anyone.
No, like, see, like that's the whole deal. Before we go any further, I'm Rob White, fighting Texas Ag class 14, whatever that year is.
Yeah, and I'm Roy May, fighting Texas Ag class of 2015.
But yeah, I mean, to your point, I mean, yeah, making a comment like that, basically coming in and saying, well, oh, Aggie wants no part of this. I'm like, time out. You guys are the 4-time defending champs, and we have everything to prove. I mean, case in point, not announcing Trisha Ford as coach of the year is probably one of the biggest snubs in this conference that's ever happened.
Monster hose job.
Oh,
Absolutely monster hose job.
no, the whole point of that particular title is like taking a team that was not expected to be in the position where they are and getting to that position. Oklahoma has been the number one team for however long, has won 4 straight national titles before they entered the SEC. And it certainly felt like it was an excuse to go ahead and put that crown on. And God forbid Aggie gets a shot at completely proving them wrong that within a couple of days of that announcement.
Yeah, that was complete trash, and it just shows that the conference is just basically on bended knee for Oklahoma and Texas. Right. Oklahoma is absolutely expected to be in one of the last games of the season.
Every year.
So how does winning the conference because there was a rain day in Georgia make you the coach of the year?
It's incredible. I got nothing for it, man.
I, obviously she'll never say anything, but I bet Trisha Ford was like, "This is bullshit."
Well, and let's face it, you have the best possible way to prove all of them wrong.
Oh well, yeah,
I mean, go out
absolutely,
there and win a national title, and that'll shut up everybody.
yeah. Then there's nothing you can say.
Right.
And
Which,
then and, she'll end up winning. If we do that, she'll end up winning National Coach of the Year.
right.
It just won't come from the conference.
Right, because obviously the conference doesn't much care for us. We've already gathered that at this stage of the game. And I think that became quite apparent once Texas and Oklahoma got added. It was like the beauty of A&M. Like I said, this is just I guess if I have a rant, here's my rant. When A&M moves into the SEC, it was like this big hoopla across the college sports world because everybody always assumed A&M was going to be attached at the hip to Texas. And A&M said, no, we're willing to branch out, do our own thing. And we did. We went out and we were largely successful in this brand new conference. I mean, if you look across all SEC titles, I think what we're third, across the entire conference. And, if we're looking at every single sport, A&M has largely done very well in this conference since we joined up. We came in here and did a pretty decent job. All of a sudden, and you have Oklahoma and Texas eyeballing wanting to come in, and all of a sudden that gentleman's agreement that was like, well, we're not going to allow people from other markets to branch into, got thrown
Yeah.
out the window immediately.
Yep.
And it's like, well, okay, well, and I think that was the first moment of Aggies being like, okay, I see where we stand in the eyes of these people.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be the guy that's sitting here saying, well, we need to run off and go join another conference. I'm not saying that. You don't
No.
know. There's zero benefit to doing that at this stage because the SEC, is a trend towards something we're going to see very soon, which is what I do think where we're going to have this top level of college sports as a whole just branches off and does their own thing. And there's zero position to, zero reason to move away from that position, I think.
You're not leaving the SEC. That's just absolutely crazy talk. But yeah, it's just with each passing year, I think the shine of the SEC, like being a member of it, fades
Yeah.
significantly. Um, and I think we knew coming in that we'd be the darlings of the conference a little bit, just in the sense that we're new.
Right.
It's a new name, and um, but eventually what we really wanted to be was just a normal member of the conference, right? Like you just want
Right.
to grow to where you're just part of the tradition and part of the quality of the SEC.
Right.
Um, and largely we haven't performed well enough, quite frankly, to move into that tier. But that's really kind of just talking about football and basketball.
Right. Which at the end of the day, those are the two big money ones. And of course, for the SEC, baseball is always going to be in the conversation. But
Well, we've held up our end of the bargain in baseball.
for the most part, yeah. I mean, we can go into this season and all that other fun stuff. But the reality is, if you look at us since we've joined the conference, even in the Rob Childress era while he was still here, we were competitive. I mean,
In the postseason,
we made Omaha, like we were involved quite a bit. And so it's just one of those deals where it
yeah,
just, just feels like there seems to be a little bit of love,
yeah,
towards
that was
over the
they.
top.
There's no way they can explain that one away to me. Like
Yeah.
there would be no one at the conference office that could explain why what's her name at OU got it over Trisha Ford. And I know we're being a bit of homers, but I can sit here and be objective and say the same thing.
Right. I mean, all you can do is just look at the stats. I mean, look at the preseason. Who was preseason number one, Oklahoma or Texas? One of the two of them. I don't even know. But fact is, they were always there. It's like it's not that big of an accomplishment to stay at the top when you're already there.
Yeah, I want to look that up. I want to see let's see here. So it was Texas, Florida, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State. That was 1 through 4.
Okay.
And I want to say we were top 10. Oklahoma, Oklahoma
We were
State,
close.
seven, seven. So we were seventh in the country. Oklahoma was third.
So they moved up one spot. We jumped 6 spots.
We earned the number one outright seed
Yeah.
in
Which
the
is
nation.
awesome.
Yeah, I was so thrilled with that decision. We'll get into that in a second. But so you're telling me an Oklahoma team that they expected basically to, be in the mix to win it, as opposed to an A&M team at 7 who would, they figured would make it to Oklahoma City.
Right.
And Trisha Ford took that program to the number one seed in the nation.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Well, and I mean, let's just, since we're kind of on the softball high for a minute, let's look back at the past weekend. Ladies came in and did their job in the 2 games they got a chance to play in.
Dude, smoking Texas felt good.
I mean, come on. You had smoked chicken, we had smoked brisket. I mean, we're just in here for the barbecue at this stage.
They looked so good in Athens. And I hate it for them. Like the weather, I hate it for them that they weren't able to play Oklahoma. But I mean, if this season goes the way that you hope it does, there's a pretty damn good chance you're going to be playing Oklahoma at some point.
Ideally, yeah. And the nice part is they'll be on the other side of the bracket too.
Yeah, I was talking to Chad Nelson, Dr. Nelson. He's the guy I was on the fan show with. We were talking after the show this morning. Oklahoma has shown that they're mortal this year.
Yeah.
They're gettable. And I think, and what's funny is that OU fan talked about like, oh, you should have seen what they did in the tournament. I was like, bro, did you see our box scores even? Like, did you even see our box scores from the conference tournament?
Did you look at the first 2 innings against Texas?
That was fun.
Boy, we
That
were,
was one of those games, like it's just fun from the get, man.
yeah, we were actually in Oklahoma that day, and it was ironic because we were sitting up at the bar there at Hochtown Saloon, and they had the games going on TV, and we got to watch Oklahoma pull off the win against Arkansas, and then we watched A&M in Texas. And it was so funny because obviously this bar, it's mostly OU fans because we're in Oklahoma. And listen to them get all excited for how good Oklahoma looked. And then A&M, what they started doing to Texas, they started getting scared. I mean, they were like, "Holy cow. Those Aggies look unstoppable."
Well, and you have to realize like they pulled it out against Arkansas. Arkansas's not a bad team. I get that.
Good team.
But Texas is a damn good team, and we made them look like they were a Division II team in a regional.
Yeah. Like it wasn't, I mean, it was not even close.
I mean, yeah, you run rule the SIPs. I mean, it's and on a neutral field, it's
Yeah.
not like we were playing at Davis.
So call that revenge for last season. A little bit,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, a little bit.
a little bit of revenge. It'd be, you know, I, I'm hoping we don't have to see them once we get to OKC, because regardless of what happens, Oklahoma and Texas are both on the far side. We wouldn't see them till the championship series anyway.
So, yeah, so it'd only be one to begin with.
Right.
So
If I had to pick between one or the other, give me Oklahoma.
honestly, I don't care. Like
Either one.
the way we played in the season we had and what this team is capable of, I don't care who you put in front of us.
Right.
Like that's just how well they're playing. And it's so fun because obviously you have, Emily Kennedy, who's just the beast. She's your number one, but you've got enough pitchers that have stepped up that gives you, you know, even champions don't always have a number two. It's hard to, there's not that many dominant pitchers in the nation, quite frankly.
Right.
And every team's going to want their number one. But what Mutterlin and Grace and was it Katie Mutterlin? Yeah, Katie and Grace and Sydney have done in the circle gives you a lot of confidence. But then because of what they've been able to do in the circle all year long, Emily Kennedy has pitched less innings. So, she's at the point in the season where normally she's at, blank amount of innings. So she's a little bit more fresh heading into this postseason, which if I'm opposing teams, that's the last thing I want to hear.
Right.
There's a reason that she was one of the golden ticket, softball players for the new league.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's super exciting because it's not just the pitching. The offense is completely out of control. Maya Perez, batting leading the team at a 447 clip. She's got over 1,400 OPS. Like that's bonkers, man.
Yeah.
And then you got a Mario Harper at 49, or what's she like 407? Coco Wooley's at 393. Mac Barber's at 367. We can mash the ball. We can move, base to base. This offense can just generate runs, just straight up generate runs. And if you've got Emily Kennedy in the circle and you're putting up 8 runs, you feel pretty good about your chances. So all the excitement obviously starts for us. Obviously it'll be at Davis starting tomorrow afternoon. I believe we have the 2:30 game.
Correct.
Because there's a noon and a 2:30. And then Saturdays 1, 3:30, and 6. And then, Sunday, hopefully we don't play.
Yeah. It's just get it done. 2 days of work, get out of there.
Well, I was laughing about it though. So our regional, the mascots for the schools, because it's Liberty, Marist, and St. Francis.
Right.
The mascots are the Lady Flames, the Red Foxes, and the Red Flash. Like Davis, like the opposing section at Davis is basically going to look like Old Trafford all weekend.
Pretty much, yeah.
Nothing but red.
Nothing but red. You're right. A lot of red teams. You'll get a little bit of navy with Liberty, sure, but there's going to be a lot of red. You're not.
Yes. Yeah, and so, but obviously, you have a great draw, but you earn that great draw by how you play all year, and
right.
being the one.
Well, and you get paired up, of course, with Oregon across the way and their regional. So we'll see how that one kind of shakes out.
Well, just the biggest thing for me, and it obviously applies in baseball as well. And you get 2 weekends at home.
Yeah.
And you've earned it. Again, none of this stuff is given. It is absolutely earned. I was just so pleasantly surprised to see that the committee, I think, truly looked at the numbers. And they looked at RPI, and they looked at strength of schedule, and they looked at road splits, and they looked at neutral splits. Because if you put them side by side, it wasn't as close as anybody said it was.
No.
And so I'm thrilled that they got the 1 seed, just totally earned. I'm glad the SEC didn't do some sort of stupid backhanded, give it to Oklahoma crap because I heard some sort of, it had to do with how they finished the regular season, who finished higher. And that, again, that would have been another hose job by the rain in Athens. So I hate that they didn't play it. There's absolutely no reason they couldn't get that game in. They could have played Sunday morning. All right. They could
Well, I
have
mean,
done it.
hell, they could have played it 30 to 45 minutes after they called it because the rain was moved now.
Yeah. And if that field can't handle the rain, then that field should never host a tournament. It's
Exactly.
pretty simple.
Well, it was
And
like if you go back in the day, even like whenever we were in Southwest Conference days, that's the way they used to do the tournament. They rotated it around to all of the ballparks. And, everybody had to be on top of their game to make sure it was ready to go. I mean, in '89, whenever we had that team for baseball, we hosted the Southwest Conference tournament and won it at home. Like it's just one of those things. I love that idea.
I love the way they do it. I'm huge on rotating it around for a conference tournament. I think playing in Hoover every year sucks, quite frankly. I don't like the ballpark.
The
Um,
rain is always a factor.
yeah, I mean, look around here.
Yeah.
We're pretty much. I mean, I really hope I'm wrong, but we're pretty much done with rain until August.
Yeah, we'll see. But I know, like, if you had, one example, yeah, if you did host it at Olson, if you hosted it at the Dude, if you hosted it at the Box, I mean, tell me that wouldn't be cool.
It would just give more baseball fans the opportunity to go see the other ballparks and experience the other cities. It's cheaper to go to baseball games than it is to football games.
Yeah,
So it's easier on the fans. And quite frankly, you'll probably draw a lot of fans that aren't even like the diehard baseball fans because they're man, I've been to a football game in Mississippi State and that blows because of the cowbells, but I've never been, or like Arkansas. I've never been to Baum Walker, never been to the Dude. So I've never been to the Box. I'd love to go
yeah.
in like the most neutral colors possible, or in a large pack. I wish baseball would adopt it. That's something that and I know Hoover's, it's a big ballpark. I get it. And so it kind of, in theory, it gives you a bit of an experience of like playing in Omaha.
Right.
But come on, man. Every single one of these teams has basically played in Omaha over the last 5-10 years. They don't need the experience. I don't like the ballpark in Hoover. I just don't.
Yeah, that's fair. And it is a bit archaic, and then they've even talked about just rotating like the tournament location as far as like cities. And one of the towns that got mentioned was like maybe send it to the Nashville Sounds, do it at their ballpark. I'm like, not a bad idea. And you wanted to send it off to Georgia, in some of the ballpark over there, wouldn't hate it. It just depends on how they wanted to do it, but just it being in Hoover every single year.
Well, yeah, and I get that, it's kind of centrally located. That's where
Sure.
the headquarters are. But then basically all you're saying is Auburn and Alabama will never have to travel very far.
All right.
And Texas and A&M and Missouri and South Carolina, like they've got to travel the most to get there. Rotate it around and make it even for everybody. We're not like the Big Ten where we have UCLA and Rutgers, all right?
Right.
Like that's one of the biggest messes. I remember us talking about that when the Big Ten started adding people, and it wasn't the impact on football because there's no impact on football. All right,
Sure.
football has a travel budget as deep as you need, but when you're talking about baseball and volleyball and women's basketball having to travel from literally coast to coast to play games, and so the fact that we've expanded and at least maintained some sort of geographical footprint is nice. But I'm with you 100%. I wish they would rotate the SEC baseball tournament around from school to school. It happens after school is out, so you in theory you really shouldn't have any issues with booking hotels, having room. A bunch of the students are gone, so
Graduation's done. You know?
I mean, I can't find a negative. Like the only negative would be if you end up somewhere where the field crew sucks.
Right. Or if you get stuck at a ballpark, that's going to be nothing but turf. But
Yeah, but if you're going to rotate it around, you have to rotate it everybody, and that's just how it is.
exactly right.
But yeah, I mean, it's after school's out. I mean, it's after finals, it's after graduation. This thing should be rotating from campus to campus. It should be, and that's why I love softball doing it,
Yeah. So
except for
it's
when it rains.
yeah. So Obviously, not much to analyze here ahead of the softball regional here. I mean, you just go there and do what you do, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you got
yeah, yeah. This is go in. Don't sleepwalk. Just go in. Stay on the hot streak that you're on. That's probably the biggest thing is staying locked in, playing against lesser quality opponents. Quite frankly, you've been running through the gauntlet of the SEC for months, and now you get to play some people that honestly you should just really beat up on.
yeah, just don't take your foot off the pedal. Just do what you do.
Yeah, exactly. Don't take your foot off the pedal. Just beat them up, run rule everybody, make it a short weekend. Just a, the harder you work, the shorter this weekend can be, kind of thing.
Very much so.
You an extra day off.
Yeah.
Um, and then you get to spend Sunday watching softball. Maybe watch somebody you're going to play. See, just kind of check out around, just enjoy the day, kind of thing.
Like I said,
Uh,
if I had goals for this weekend, I want us to have a short weekend, and I want Oregon and whoever else over there in that region to have a long weekend.
yes.
That would be ideal.
Just a quick run through though of the teams that are coming. So we got number two or two seeds Liberty, the Lady Flames. They actually got an RPI at 26.
Pretty good.
And they bat as a team at 332 and their ERA is 222. So obviously not a bad team. I mean, they're a two seed, right? So they're going to be the best team in the regional outside us. So good record. They've got some hitters. Uh, their top girl, like top average. She runs. She got 48 stolen bases on the year.
Mm.
So you got Mac Barbara back behind the dish, who, by the way, has done a fantastic job filling in for Ocho. It was impressive to see her. Look, catcher's the hardest spot on the diamond, man.
Mm-hmm.
Hardest spot on the diamond to play and to master. And for her to be able to slide in, I think just shows her really like softball IQ and athleticism, kind of combined. Let's see. So that was the Flames. Yeah, so Liberty can hit. Like they can hit and they can mash a little bit. So they're the one, I guess. But again, they're the two seed. Three seed is Marist. They're got an RPI 71. Just they have a girl hitting 521. So there's that.
Sure.
But that's one of those things where you do have to kind of think about the competition she's facing.
Right.
But their team batting average is 345, but they've got a girl 521, 448, and 422. So if you just tried to go side by side, they're similar to us, but then you also have to realize that we did that in the SEC. So
Exactly.
a little different.
It was a little different competition there.
Yeah, but the girl's name, Kylie Myers, is the one that's batting north of 520. North of 520, man, that's bonkers.
It's pretty wild.
And then the St. Francis Red Flash, they got an RPI 203. They're the 4 seed. They're just
Happy to be there.
yeah, they won their conference. That's why they're there. So
But the other, it's at any time you get into these regional situations, everybody's looking to play spoiler. So you just got to be on top of your game. Be smart. Don't let them
nobody,
play fundamental game. Don't make silly mistakes. Don't give them an excuse to get back into the game. Just go out
nobody
there.
wants their season to end.
Yeah. Nobody does.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's just a little bit of rundown for the regional. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If we go out and perform like we're capable, we shouldn't be playing on Sunday.
Yep.
Point blank.
Yep.
But so tune in at 2:30 tomorrow. So then let's go ahead and shift to the other diamond. The reason why we're recording a little bit early.
Yeah.
So Aggie baseball in an absolute do or die situation in Athens. And Athens has been so bad to us this year.
It has.
And so they start at 5 o'clock our time. So that's why we did this a little early so we can catch some baseball. I guess we can talk about Missouri a little bit. I think everybody's probably hit the ad nauseum point with this, but I'm going to say this. We talked about this on the fan show this morning. Nuno really kind of touched on it quite a bit too. I'm really sick of hearing the people say that they quit. Like these ball players did not quit, man. Like they had everything to play for. Why would they quit? Like that makes absolutely no sense to think that they would have quit. Now, what I did say was about midway through the second game, they looked shell shocked.
Yeah.
Like their approach at the plate was horrendous. And and it's, once it got to a certain point where they were just getting sat down and sat down and sat down, and if anything happened, the next guy rolled over on a pitch and grounded into a double play. There was just no movement on the base path. It looked like a team that was like, I don't know if maybe they thought they were going to blow them out and they got punched in the face a little bit. I don't think they quit. I think they hit a point where they're like, what in the hell is going on? And then you start pressing, and I'll tell you some of the worst plate appearances I've seen all year.
Yeah.
And not just from A&M, just in general, watching baseball this year, that's some of the worst plate approaches I've seen on a consistent whole weekend basis. It was just so bad. Swinging it, making bad pitchers look good. So seriously, it reminds me of how we always joke about in football, their starting quarterback got hurt, so we're about to make their backup, look like a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yep.
We made their pitchers look like like three versions of Cy Young all weekend, and they're just not that good at pitchers. And the pitches, either we were swinging at terrible pitches or putting terrible swings on hittable pitches or just standing there with the bat on your shoulder. The approaches at the plate were horrific, absolutely horrific. So all you can do is hope that they flushed everything about that series. Like, I'd be okay if they burned all the jerseys. Like, just forget about it. Because of that, now you have to go on the road to, I believe, ninth or seventh ranked Georgia, number one RPI in the nation. I think they're underranked. I just think they should probably be closer to 3. I don't care what their record is. They're like, to be where they're at with the number one RPI. So that means their strength of schedule is through the roof.
Yeah.
And to know that now you have to go to Georgia in a ballpark that favors the long ball, but Georgia has 3 dudes that have 15 or more homers.
Yep.
Like, they got some bangers on that lineup. And I know that we love the long ball, but we've got to go into Georgia thinking manufacture runs, not hitting them. I'm not home runs. We have to manufacture runs and get guys from base to base. It would be nice to try and steal a base every once in a while. That's not on the players, quite frankly, unless for some reason he's just giving the players, if he left the decision up to players, dudes would be running a hell of a lot more.
They should be, yeah.
But we've got to be able to manufacture runs. I don't care if it's small ball. Look, if it's the long ball, and if you want to try and get in a slugfest with Georgia in their ballpark, you are probably in for a long, long weekend.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to echo what you're saying, I mean, frankly, I just don't have much to say about Missouri. Even day after the sweep, I mean, I just said I've got no words. I had nothing for it because with everything that was on the line and the opportunity to secure your slot last weekend, you just didn't do it. Extremely unclutch baseball. And now you have to turn around and go try to do the same thing on the road at a ballpark that does not favor our style of play right now and the flow of the game right now. I guess
And our pitching.
In our pitching. I mean, we've been struggling in the pitching department. It's just fact of life. I mean, most of the starters have been pretty solid. We've talked about this, but at the same time, when we've gone into the bullpen, when we go into the depths there, we lose it, and we can't afford to give Georgia multiple home run opportunities. And I have a feeling that's very much what might happen this weekend. I don't know I just don't know what's going to take place. I mean, the way the season has been, we kind of look at softball like it's the Penthouse, and currently our friends in baseball are currently chilling in the Outhouse. So the question now becomes, at what point on this roller coaster are we at? We just probably went into the biggest dip we could have had all year long with that Missouri series. Are you about to peak out and do something crazy? What's going to happen? I don't know. This team is just not consistent enough for me to make a fair assessment.
No, well, they're just, it's like they're bipolar, man.
It's Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, it's just, of all the weekends you thought you could have made some sort of prediction, last weekend would have been it.
Yeah.
And that, like you said, to really, relative to the task at hand this weekend, last weekend the ball was sitting on the tee, man.
Yeah.
Like all you had to do was swing, literally and metaphorically. All you had to do was swing. Um, yeah, no man ever got a base hit by not swinging his bat. Um, so it just it baffles the mind what happened last weekend, and they continuously put themselves just up against it, and they've done themselves no favors all year long. But I think it's just the true ups and downs of the season that's making it even more frustrating from a fan standpoint.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I get it that we were ranked number one preseason. I totally get that, right? I've heard that enough. I get it. Um, but mediocre play, don't play well down in Houston, kind of scratch some stuff around, open up conference looking like doo doo, get taken behind the woodshed to pick your own switch against Tennessee, and then all of a sudden the light goes on.
Yeah.
The light goes on, and we start playing phenomenal baseball for what, a month and a half?
Yeah.
And then you have the series against Texas. And my thought on that is, I said it this morning as well. My thought on that is, if we'd have been able to just scratch one game out of that, I don't think we would have looked at that series anywhere remotely the same as we do as getting swept.
Right.
Like, because it sucks that we got swept. It sucked that we got swept and everything was so close and you had a chance in every game. And then on top of that, it sucks that it was the SIPs, right?
Right.
But so then you have like you're riding high, and then just the rug comes out from underneath you. Then you start building it back up, and you get Missouri coming in town, and you're like, all right, you know what? We're starting to do the math. I think we're going to hit the right number of wins. We should be good, even if we don't sweep Missouri. And then you're like, okay, we need to get one game out of Missouri, and then you're like, shit, we got to go to Athens. And it's been the volatility of success this season,
Yeah.
like success and failure. And this is one of those seasons that like takes years off your life, man. Gives you gray hair.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it's been
Not fun.
no fun, but
But
fortunately,
again, the
yeah,
highs have been so high.
they are. It's asinine. None of it makes sense.
It's
None of it
bonkers.
makes sense. So, I mean, yeah, the all of it's in front of you. If you find a way to take a series here at Georgia, who knows what happens? I think you
Let's
got
do this.
sweep.
Let's do this. Let's win the first inning today.
Win the first inning.
Let's start with winning the first inning.
Yeah, good
Um,
starting point.
yeah. And again, this team has shown the potential to do it.
They have.
Not
Like I
like
said,
the talent isn't there, and it's not like the results haven't even already happened against teams just as good.
I don't know. Like I said, and it's
I don't know either,
I don't
man.
know. I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Now, of course, a conversation always comes up as far as what's the coach situation? Is he going to be around? What's all that? I don't know. Frankly, I don't care that much because one way or the other, they're going to have to figure it out. Either he's going to have
Man,
to work on some assistant issues or there's an alternative that has been floated by my desk. I don't know if it's actually worth looking into, but I'm curious about your thoughts. So the thought being, A&M goes, throws a little money around and decides we're going to bring in a head coach and demote early back to hitting coach. Specifically, Rob Vaughn from Alabama has been the name that's been thrown around. Go bring in Rob. You still maintain early as the hitting coach, so the players are still happy. But
we
you have the big guy at the helm that has done well at a program that is frankly third or even fourth in on the tier list at Alabama in terms of which sport is more prominent for them.
we had this conversation sitting in the parking lot today, actually, after the fan show. Me and Chad,
Right.
or
I
excuse me, Chad and me.
and I don't know how viable it is. I like to think that there's a timeline where this works out. I just don't know if it's this one.
This is the only way it works out in my mind. We talked about this. This is the only way it works out in my mind is if you go make a hire and then you ask that guy if he's willing to do it. Because the last thing you want to do is force assistance or anything else on a new coach. New
Right.
coach is going to want to have his staff, and if he doesn't want to have early, then he doesn't want to have early.
Right.
That's really, to me, that's the biggest part. Go get your guy. Don't worry about roster retention. Just go get your guy. If you get the right guy, he should be able to keep at least some people. Routes. You're about to have some NIL money on the table because Jace is going to the draft, and
Right.
that's probably your biggest NIL money. And so, but the most insane thing on the planet would be for us to let the team hold the program hostage again.
Not just the team, certain parents. I'm not going to name names.
Yeah, that was weird for him to even post that.
Very fascinating little tidbit that came out of his mouth. Once again, not going to name names, but certain parent literally saying, well, if the players, if the coach goes, players are going. If he stays, they stay. That's all there is to it, whatever it is. And I'm thinking to myself, like, if you want to talk about it, come talk to me. I'm like, that's a very travel ball dad mindset, and I don't like it.
Big time.
Don't like that.
Big time. Big time helicopter dad.
Don't
Big time,
like that.
big time look at me. Um, yeah, that was fascinating to see that come out. I just,
And
but
then he
again,
does, and then he deletes his account like not terribly long afterwards when everybody started calling him out on it.
yeah, yeah. Don't bring me that's ultimate travel ball dad.
Straight
Uh,
up. And that's and I think
start the fight and run away.
I would like to think that we are at a point as a program and as a school that we don't allow that to be the case anymore because we can't afford to. Don't get me wrong. You look at the success of what the 2024 Texas A&M baseball team was. It was incredible. I mean, this team won in spite of its coach not trying down the stretch. I mean, they went through injuries, they went through frustrating play. They made it so close to winning the whole dang thing. And then you get the rug pulled out, and all of a sudden we're kind of left scrambling, and you make an emotional hire in early. Do I think it's the right or the wrong hire? I don't know. Do I think he's got potential down the line? Absolutely. We've seen it time and time again where maybe the guy comes in initially and doesn't do great and eventually becomes so. But at the same time, the roster he had built here, and this is not, I understand we've lost people due to injury. We've had people that weren't able to come back thanks to various issues. But all of a sudden, we're sitting here on the opposite side of this season, and you're wondering, was that the right call?
Well, I mean, hindsight's always 2020, obviously,
Always.
but for me, a couple things, and I'm gonna try not to sound like a total jerk, but it's probably gonna come off that way.
All right.
So if early leaves, we're gonna lose parts of the roster. That's the argument, right? If he leaves, they're gone.
That seems to be the main message that people have been pushing, yes.
Well, look at our record this year. What are we losing? Look at our offensive production. What are we losing? Look at our defensive, or look at our fielding percentage. What are we losing? Like, I refuse to be held hostage by two or three kids. It's absolutely ridiculous to think that we're going to keep that coach. Coach Early's first head coaching job should have been at somewhere like a Tarleton. Okay.
Sure.
That's where you start. You don't start at A&M. A&M has a storied baseball program, and there is no excuse for letting kids hold us hostage because playing baseball at A&M is playing competitive baseball in the SEC, which means you're playing with one of the better teams in the country. This program recruits itself. It does. We need to work on player facilities. I'm fine with that. If we don't touch Olson ever again and leave it the way it is, so be it. Just fix the player facilities and get those updated and bring in the right coach. And the other thing is, where are you going to go? So if Early leaves, are you just going to follow him like a blind puppy?
Right.
I mean,
That's
what
the
does he
real
end up
question.
doing? Like, shit, I don't know, Kansas.
Was it, yeah, where does he end up? That's the other side of the coin because you're going to look at the coaches. I mean, and they're going to, look at the teams. They're going to be looking around at him and say, well, I mean, we saw what he just did at A&M with that roster. Do we necessarily want that?
He's going to go back to being an assistant coach and being a hitting coach, and he's going to have to. Nobody's going to hire him as a head coach. He's not hireable after this season. And so, another thing, to bring up though, that everybody seems to have forgotten, and this one's a little weird, but we all seem to have forgot that he left us to go to Texas,
Indeed, he did.
and then he left Texas to come back,
Right.
all in a span of what, 72 hours? So
I'm switching up.
I just nice. It's just that bugs me just because, and obviously as a fan, it's a little different. If I were in the coaching profession, I could never coach at Texas. I never could. So
No,
obviously, I'm not the consummate professional that most coaches are. But for him to be able to like basically, well, not him, for the players to basically hold the program hostage to get him as a head coach, which is fascinating to me for them to think that that's the right decision. And I get that these aren't, 10 and 12-year-olds, but these also aren't 45 and 50-year-old men who've been through life.
no.
And so maybe when they thought it was the best idea, that should have been the red flag that it was, in fact, not the best idea.
Right, and we did see that obviously take place with football too, right? I mean, where we ended up not bending the knee in that situation when all the
Yeah,
players wanted a guy, right? And
E-Rob,
yeah, which don't get me wrong, I like E-Rob.
not as head coach.
Not as head coach, but I like E-Rob.
Maybe like head coach in the bowl game. I'm fine with that.
But I
And so,
mean, that fact is, you got to go get the guy, and if you have the experience for it, great. I mean, that's why when you look at the Rob Vaughn situation, I don't hate the idea of bringing that guy in. It's just I think if I had my perfect world, it would be great if Vaughn came in and he maintained early as a hit coach, because that takes care of both issues. The players are still happy because they have their guy, but then you have the guy that you're going to call coach and not call him by his first name.
yeah, there has to be a line. I
There
mean,
has
it's
to be.
in any successful organization, there's leadership tiers.
Yeah.
There are leadership tiers. My grammar's awful today. Um, I'm my own grammar Nazi. But there has to be a tiered system, and like your boss can't be your homie, man. He just can't. And you can be cordial, you can be friends, and that's fine. But when those lines start getting blurred, you automatically see a performance getting blurred. And
Hmm.
dude, pick your profession. I've seen it in the military,
Yep.
I've seen it in sports, I've seen it in the civilian workforce. When you're homies with your employees, bad things generally end up happening.
Right.
And if lack of production is the least of that, then I mean, you're fortunate. But it I felt like it should have been a red flag when they were like, "Well, we're gonna leave. You fire early." Um, who do you think you are?
Right. I mean, because at the end of the day, A&M, as you said it yourself, it recruits itself, right? You have great facilities that are going to get better. You've got a great fan base. You've got great monetary support. You've got the things for a dominant program for college baseball here. We saw it. I mean, under Jim Schlossnagle, say what you want about the coach, but it was a successful program while he was here. And no one's
No,
gonna, no one's going to deny that. I mean, and he's
competitive program with Schloss. Rob Childress, who we all know is just not the guy to take things to the next step, was still able to be competitive because A&M as a baseball school is a top tier baseball school. And honestly, pretty much the whole SEC is in that tier.
any of them could be. Yeah. I mean, reality is there's only one program, and ironically, we lost to them, where they have put zero effort into their baseball, and that's Missouri. And even they've had their moments. I mean, hell, they have a national title. We don't. Granted, it was back in the 50s, but it doesn't matter. You're talking about programs that have been around. They understand they can win, and they know how to do this
Yeah.
stuff. And we've always kind of like been right there with the chance, and it's just
Well, and Olson's an easy sell, like the atmosphere. It's just this program recruits itself, and you absolutely cannot, in any way, shape, or form, let the players or their helicopter dads hold this program hostage with the next hire. Now, does that mean is he getting fired this year? Is he getting fired? Does he turn things around next year if he stays? Like I don't know any of the answers to this, obviously, but I think with post like just making the postseason, which I feel. And I know not the same roster as last year. I get that. I get it. I get it. I get it.
right.
But some incredibly key parts returning. And I know you lost a couple. All right. Well, I think there was probably a point where when we looked at the injuries, we said, crap, maybe this just isn't our year, even though we thought it was going to be. But, let's just get to Omaha and see if we can make some noise. but there are enough pieces there that aren't performing.
I mean, you had enough pieces to beat Tennessee on the road. You had enough pieces to beat Arkansas on the road. You had plenty of pieces to beat LSU. You
The
know,
talent's there, so
it's all there.
it's an internal breakdown, just point blank, and it's partial. Not that he's a bad leader; it's he's in a bad situation.
Right.
That's my take on it. I like the guy. I think he's grown into his role. But Texas A&M isn't a place where you hire somebody to grow into their role, man. And
You
so
know, I
it's
mean,
just
A&M is a place where you expect to make the postseason. And if you look at what happened under every single one of our coaches, the moment you start missing postseason dates, that's when you end up kind of on the way out. I mean, that's what happened to Rob. Rob was consistently good, was making postseasons one way or the other. Even like last four in at times, he's done that. But he made the postseason. And then the first time he doesn't, granted, it was like right at the end of his contract, but it just lined up well enough where he misses the postseason. Didn't, contract's up, and that was kind
you,
of the end of the story.
you
But
don't miss the postseason at Texas A&M.
no, and there's a very good chance that we do this year.
Well, no. Oh, yeah. No, I'm not saying it's impossible.
I'm about to say it's probably going to happen.
But
So,
making the postseason, even as a 4 seed, is the absolute bare minimum expectation every single year. Now, I get you may not go on a run where you get to the postseason 24 straight seasons, but out of those 24, I expect 20 of them.
yeah,
And I don't expect those four to come anywhere near each other, being
no,
weird one-offs when they
right,
occur.
just fluke, right?
Texas A&M baseball, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what all that kind of looks like, but we got to get through Georgia first. That's going to be the
Yep, got to start with Georgia. You know what's funny is we were talking about the expectation. Somebody raising the bar for expectation right now is Trish Ford.
yeah, she has. I mean, you are number one in the country going into the
He's
postseason.
revived the program basically.
Yeah, and you have a large number of people who've looked at A&M and largely favor us to win the whole dang thing. So,
Yeah.
knocking on wood, we'll see what happens. So,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Friday. Looking forward to the games getting going. I may try and squeeze out to Davis if I can this weekend.
absolutely give it a shot if you can. Um, I unfortunately will be in I'll be in Columbus on Friday, and we'll be in San Angelo Saturday. So I'm going to be nowhere near Olsen Field. I mean, Davis Diamond, but I'm looking forward to keeping an eye on it and keeping up with what's going on. So we had a question from my buddy Matt Trujillo, and I love this question. I'm going to break it up into two categories because I like the question enough. He said, if you hadn't recorded yet, do your favorite sports calls of all time, and here's how I'm going to do it. I want favorite A&M sport call and favorite sports call in general.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
A&M, it's probably pretty easy. It was Sir Parker.
That was where my number was going. I mean, throw here to Parker at the 20, at the 15, at the 10, at the 5. He is almost here you go. Touchdown!
Yeah, that's probably got to be the top call. Yeah, I grew up listening to a lot of Aggie football on the radio, and
Yeah.
Dave South was just the voice, man. And I know that we all poke fun at him for butchering names and all
I
this
throw
other
that
stuff.
guy.
That guy gets the other guy. Yeah, basketball was not his forte. But yeah, I think Aggie wise, I can't think of another one just because I mean we have so few like kind of times in moment or moments in time where we've had true success. And
Mm,
so that those can really only be those that's the pool of calls that you have to pull from anyways.
yeah. So I like that Dave South call for sure. If I had to pull another one that I really like from him, I would do a 1-2 pitch of the plate. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. He struck him
Oh
out. He
yeah.
struck him out. Aggies are going to the College World Series against Clemson in the first Super Regional back in '99. Like that was, I mean, yeah, those are two all-time calls from Dave South alone. I mean, I love just how nonchalant he is, and then just how quick the volume jumps.
Yeah, he went from 0 to 1,000 a lot.
Right.
One I never heard, I bet was really awesome, and we lost the game. But when Bama came here and Johnny threw that 95-yard touchdown, I
Yeah.
bet you that call was amazing. I mean, I wish I was at the game, so I never heard it.
Yeah. No, that was a really really good one from was it Vern
Yeah,
Lundquist. So
What
that,
about I bet there was a great call with what was that Simon's no hitter?
oh yeah, no, that was a really
Yeah,
good.
I bet you that was a good one too. Yeah.
Yeah, the liner
All
right back to.
time of all time, that's tough, man. Uh Speaking of Vern Lundquist, he's probably got oh my gracious, like that one was amazing.
How about that?
When Tiger was at the Masters and he chipped and the
Oh yeah,
uh and the ball like suspended on the hole right field. Like you see the Nike logo perfectly and then it rolled in.
right.
That was that's an all-timer. My favorite probably all-time sports announcement. Hey, this one's a no-brainer for me. The Indians win the pennant. The Indians win the pennant.
Oh my God, the Indians win it!
Yeah,
Major
I'm a
League.
huge Major League fan.
So
That that or the one when he's like one damn hit. That's all we got.
one dip. You can't say damn on the radio. Well,
Ah, shit,
no
nobody's
one's
listening.
listening anyway.
That or the one where he's like completely hammered. He's like, I'm gonna hand it out to you. He just like face plants up. Oh man, I'm gonna go watch Major League again.
So
Bob Uecker, dude.
yeah, R.I.P. Now if I did have one additional call I wanted to pull from, and this is college football related. Rob Bramblett, who's the Auburn announcer. They're the
Uh,
kick six.
the kick six. That's
Yeah.
an all.
Yeah. 45, 40, 30. There goes Davis. Oh my goodness, Auburn's gonna win the football game. Win the football game. I mean, just let the
That's a
gravel go. He doesn't care.
that's a disturbingly accurate voice you just did.
I'm great at impressions. I've been working on it for a long time, man.
Oh goodness, that's a really good question.
Yeah, no, thanks, Matt. I appreciate you asking that one. That was really good. Let me double check to see if there was any others. I think that was it for today on the question front. But good questions. I'm glad we weren't having to answer a bunch of questions about what the future of Aggie baseball is because I don't want to go there yet.
I don't think people want to hear it.
I don't think they want to hear it either. So it's all great. It's all good. I mean, fact of at the end of the day, it's all sports and it's fun. But it's way more fun when you're winning. So good on you, softball. Thank you for this. Speaking of not winning, oh my God, the fact that Tottenham and Manchester United are both floating over the line for relegation, which of course they're not in trouble of, but just the fact that they're there, beautiful.
Yo, yeah, no, that was a glorious win on Sunday at Old Trafford for my Hammers.
So good.
We completed the double over Man United for the first time in like
You
19
got
years, something like that.
long
So
time.
so completed the double over a flailing. Well, and what's even better is uh yeah, they're because they're not obviously they're not going to get relegated. For those of y'all don't know, the bottom three teams have already been like they have basically relegated themselves. They can't stay up, which means everybody else is safe.
Right. No, everybody's safe at this point. The only thing that's being competed for at this point is Champions League spots, and that's between Newcastle, Man City, Chelsea, and Aston Villa right now. So those four teams.
Well, what's even funnier is the mighty, Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester United Red Devils at the bottom of the table, but they're playing tomorrow for their Europa League final.
Right.
And if if there were ever two teams that could both somehow find a way to lose this match, it would be these two. But I will say this. I'm gonna have to root for the Red Devils. I
Yeah.
absolutely cannot root for Tottenham. So I'm rooting for the Red Devils to win Europa. I hope I hope it goes into penalties and it takes them like 15 penalties. Like 0-0 for the full 90 or no, full 120, 'cause with all the extra time plus penalties. I hope it's an awfully boring match. I hope they end up with 10 on 10, like red cards on both sides. I hope it's a terrible match and I hope nobody has a good time.
Yeah, I'm with you because I mean neither one of those teams really deserves a whole lot of happiness, but just the whole prospect of Tottenham continuing to miss out on additional silverware for the case. Because when's the last time they won anything? What, the 80s?
Yeah,
It's
it's
been a long time, right? Let's Google that. Let's see. Let's see. Tottenham Hotspur FC. Let's take a peek at what is going on there. So if we go to their honors,
it auto-filled as the first response. So when is the last time Tottenham and it said won a trophy?
So,
Uh, the
so
League Cup doesn't count.
okay, so the last League Cup was 0708. That was the last thing they got there. Last FA Cup was 91.
91.
Last Charity Community Shield was 91. Previous to that, they won the UEFA Cup in 72 and 84. Last time they won the league was 61.
As a West Ham fan, we're in no like we have no right to talk crap about trophies, but that's the thing. Like they haven't won dick in like 20 years.
Right.
But boy, if you hear them talk, you'd think they have.
Well, it's like so Tottenham largely considers themselves like one of the big six,
Yeah. Yep.
right? And the thing is, if you look at league titles across all time, they're nowhere near the top in terms of those numbers. It's insane. Let's see.
Yeah. It's whatever, man. On the whole
Yeah,
big six crap. I don't.
it's fine. Well, be sure to follow us on our socials,
Yeah,
right?
we'll stop now.
So we'll stop now. Instead, before we go too far down the rabbit hole, be sure to follow Roy May 15 Jr. On both X as well as
Yeah.
Instagram.
Roy
Rob,
May 15 on X, Roy May Jr. on Insta.
correct. And then you got Rob the Slapper on both X and Instagram
Can't
as
believe,
well as the RedAss podcast on both, as well as YouTube. Please come give us a like, come give us a follow.
can't believe we've only got 2 matches left in the season.
Right? It's very close. We're getting
Sad, sad, sad.
sad times, but we're almost there. It's almost done. And
Well, stars tonight.
stars tonight. And I was at the Astros game coming up this past Tuesday. Alex, myself, my buddy James, we all went and got to watch the walk off. Like we were in the Crawford boxes and saw the walk off fly right over our heads to win the game. That was a lot of fun. So
It's,
we enjoyed that. But yeah, stars tonight. We'll see how they do.
yeah, they can close the series tonight. So we shall see.
Finish her off. So
They're playing so good. So
they are
good.
looking
Miko,
great.
Miko Rantanen is just, he's
Have
on
you,
an like almost inexplicable heater.
have you been seeing these posts about people who've been posting the Texas flag, but the white panel is a Finnish flag?
Oh yeah,
I
yeah. Well, we
love it.
have like 5 or 6 Finnish players.
I love it. Fly it. Have it everywhere. It's great. It reminds me of like when you go over to England and everybody has their English flags up, but they're from various places or whatnot. I love that. Just do it. It's fine. Have fun with it. Anyway, so once again, I am Rob White. This is Roy May. We are the Red Ass Podcast. Take care.
Beat the hell out of Georgia and beat the hell out of the regional.
Amen to that. See y'all soon. Gig 'em.
Jacob.